If you've ever wondered how artists turn their handmade creations into a full-time business, then this video is for you. I sat down with Alessia E. Art, who makes her ceramic creations full-time in her studio in Brisbane, Australia. We chatted about how she went from weekend market stall to full-time artist, hitting six figures and the reality of that day in, day out with your hands on the tools. Alessia's approach to social media and marketing, which is very simple but very effective in growing her business. We also touch on a recent addition to her small art business, which is a monthly snail mail club that now has over 400 members and growing every day. Of course, we also chat about the inspiration behind her ceramic creations and her advice for up and coming emerging artists who want to go full-time. Be sure to check her out and give her a follow with the links below, and give the video a thumbs up. Let me know if you got some value from it and if you want to see more of these artist interviews on the channel in the future. So Alessia, how did you start your art business?
So I started making ceramics in 2020. It was my 21st birthday and we were in lockdown. So I couldn't have a party, I couldn't do anything. I had said to my mom, I kind of want to make ceramics, I want to learn. And she was going to buy me a course to do at a local pottery studio, but because of lockdown I couldn't do anything. So I got an online course, and she bought me a bag of clay and some tools, and I just started mucking around. Basically, I had so much free time because I had pretty much been kind of ghosted by my employer at the time.
Oh no.
It wasn't ideal, but it was good because I just devoted sort of all my free time when I wasn't studying to making ceramics and just playing around. When I started posting them on my Instagram, my friends were kind of interested in what I was doing. And prior to that, no one had really paid attention to when I was posting paintings or any other art. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm onto something here. So I just sort of kept posting. Yeah, just sort of grew from there.
Amazing.
I quit my full-time job in 2022 or maybe it was 2022. I quit my full-time job and took it full-time after that.
Wow, congratulations. Can you talk a little bit about how that felt? Because I know that can be really scary, going all in on your art thing as a full-time thing. And then can you talk a little bit about specifically some of the struggles that you face that maybe people can kind of learn from?
I think I was in a pretty unique situation when I decided to go full-time. I was still living at home. So I didn't really have super high overheads at the time. I just had to basically pay for my own life. So the living expenses were very low. So it was sort of a low risk move. But I had gotten a studio space and I was sort of I think this is the right time to lock in and try and make this happen. I also had sort of realized I was working in retail and I was earning 30 grand a year. Working pretty much full time. And I was wait, that's not a lot of money to be working full time. I had kind of realized I was making already more money on the weekend selling my ceramics casually. So I sort of thought if I actually had more time to put more energy into the ceramics, maybe I could actually make more money than what I'm making currently with my retail job. So I guess it was sort of a situation of I'm already in a pretty bad situation financially. I couldn't really, I think, get that much worse at that time. And I also had really low expenses. So it was a very low risk move versus if I had waited and had moved out of home and had heaps and heaps of bills to pay. So I was definitely in a fortunate situation where it wasn't super risky. But in saying that, I came from a background in law and working in corporate. So I had very high expectations for, I think, what I wanted to be making, because I was I've left this behind. I want to be making six figures realistically. So I think, it was sort of a good move in the sense that I was I'm not making heaps of money doing what I'm currently doing. So if I just try to lock in, I think I can do better. And it definitely paid off. But yeah, it was the scariest thing I've ever done. Definitely.
Yeah, it's a huge shift. And did you find that it made you approach it differently, or did you have that struggle of so many artists where they're scared to monetize their hobby and their passion, and maybe if you're doing it as a side hustle, it's okay, but then when you make it full time, there is a lot of pressure? Did you feel that at all, or did you get in your head about what you were creating or doing because it was your sole focus? Just asking for a friend. Like
I think surprisingly, I actually like used the pressure to like be really motivated. I think I've felt more pressured and more like burnt out and imposter syndrome like later on. But I think in the initial phase, I was sort of like, I just kind of send it, do whatever. But I think I was sort of very ambitious and motivated at that point in time because I really wanted to make it work. And I was like, I will do anything. Like I will just work nonstop. So I kind of used my apprehension as like motivation in those early stages. And I was very much like, I'm going to make this work, because so many people in my life were telling me like, you've made the wrong call. Like you shouldn't be doing this. I'm sure you can relate to that when people just like give you their unwarranted feedback and you're like, oh, I didn't really ask.
I wasn't asking you. Yeah. But people do it. And sometimes they do it out of love too, because they are worried and they don't want to see you kind of fail at your dreams. Because I guess that is like the most scary and vulnerable thing, more so than financially it not working out. It's more like your soul and your pride, and you know what that means is really hard.
I think in the early stages I feel like I was extremely motivated, and it didn't really impact my ability to create work. I think I just kept lining things up, and I was like, okay, what's next? Like where's the money coming from next? And I don't know, I just kept like pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and I don't think I really like started hitting a wall probably until like the second or third year.
Yeah. Okay. You had that kind of adrenaline of it working, and I can relate to that. I think it's when you get deeper into it that it then becomes, you know.
Like the stakes become higher.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. But that's super interesting. And I love that you were motivated by maybe the struggles and the feelings, then letting them kind of overcome you. And like, obviously you're a highly motivated person, and that's definitely why you have become so successful. I'm going to ask you something you totally don't have to answer, but have you hit your like goal for what you wanted to earn like in your business, or are you still kind of trying to get there?
I think like you probably found the same. Like you hit a goal and the parameters just keep getting pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed.
Yeah.
Like I'm happy to be pretty transparent. I think I hit 6 figures like the second year of doing it.
Well done. That's amazing.
Maybe, but like that was turnover, so I wasn't, you know, making that much profit, to be honest. At the time. I was just sort of like, okay, where's like the next thing coming? Where's the next thing coming? And like just kept lining things up, and I was like working ridiculous amounts and underselling my stuff ridiculously. Like I could probably sell half the amount of stuff and make the same amount of money now. Getting to that point was like very validating for myself, because I was like, wait, maybe this is like working, and all these people that were telling me it was never going to work, like they're wrong, and like that feels really reassuring. But then I think when you start like, you know, you probably have found this when you start really like reading into the numbers, and then you're like, wait, I'm not really making that much money. Why do I never have money? But like I'm turning over a lot.
Yeah. It's quite a learning curve to, you know, it's one thing to have something on paper, but then in your life it means a different thing. And I think that's probably the hardest part about trying to turn it into like a business. You know, you need to have all those other skills, and you definitely need to hear from other creatives. Like we talk a lot about that side of things because it's helpful to have someone to listen. And I think it's good for people like watching and listening to be like wary of that side of things, because it is something that can really make or break what you're doing. And it might be why you maybe don't want to go full time too. Like, you know, keeping your job and then just making your art on the side, you know, for yourself or just to sell at a market, like that might be, and that doesn't, none of these situations mean that you're doing better or like failing or not succeeding. Do you know what I mean? Like as long as you're still making what you want to make, as in like your art, then it's totally fine. So but congratulations. That's amazing. I'm very impressed. I want to move on to talking about your ceramics specifically and your style.
Yeah.
You have a very distinct style. Like you can tell instantly like it's an Alessia piece, and you have like certain themes and symbols and things that are very synonymous with you. And I feel like that all ties in nicely as well with like even the way you dress and just everything about you, you know, like it all feels like it fits together. So can you talk a little bit about keeping that style but not maybe feeling stagnant, and then like where the inspiration for maybe some of the symbols and things that you use heavily in your ceramics have come from?
In terms of inspiration, I feel like my whole life when I was making art, I was trying to be like super professional, and like I did a lot of realistic oil paintings before I sort of came into this. So like I came from like a super fine art realism, I guess, like background. And when I started making ceramics, I was like, well, I'm not going to paint like a portrait of someone on this ceramic. Like that's just not. And for some reason, like I think one of the first ceramics I made, I like did like my little cloud kind of design on it. And I was like, just sort of came out of nowhere. Like it wasn't really heavily planned. I hadn't been looking at inspiration photos or anything. Like it just sort of developed really naturally, which I'd never felt sort of with anything artistic in the past. And I feel like my style just kind of very naturally like grew and like slowly evolved, and the way I painted things probably has gotten better since I started. But yeah, there wasn't really like a huge inspiration behind it. I think I just wanted to make things that I wanted to have and like that were cute. And I think when I started making ceramics, there wasn't a lot of cute ceramics online. Like it was sort of like the beginning of like that happening on Instagram. So I think it was sort of like right place, right time. Yeah, it's just sort of evolved over time. I think as I've kind of started getting older, I think it's matured slightly. I'm probably trying to push it more in a like slightly more like minimal direction these days, or like pulling some things back where previously it was probably like a lot more colorful and like more maximalist. Now it's probably like only sort of a limited range of colors, a little bit less experimental. And I try to like not do pieces that like everyone is doing anymore. Like I wouldn't do so many plain ginghams and like checkerboards and stuff because I feel like there's just already like an oversaturation of that. Yeah, I'm trying to move in a like slight like maturation of like what I've previously been doing, just kind of like in a natural way, changes with like trends and stuff. But
yeah, it's kind of like you're growing with it.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. It does feel like at times, I don't know if you feel this, but sometimes like when you're on social media and stuff, you're like, oh, if I'm like posting today, I need to dress a particular way. And like that is consistent with this like image of me that isn't maybe necessarily like how you feel every single day. Like I don't necessarily dress cute every day. Like sometimes I will come into the studio in like a tracksuit, but I'm like, I won't film on that day. Or like,
yes,
you kind of like, I guess performing is this like idea of yourself that's not, you know, always consistent with like who you are 24/7. It's kind of like the most like performative version of you, I guess.
Definitely. I think social media does that. And I also think that comes with any artist that then puts themselves out there and people enjoy your work and then they expect things from you. Like we see it a lot with like musicians or you know, like you fall in love with them for a particular song or album and then you kind of just want them to keep creating that and you want them to be that person. And when they change, people get upset. So I'm really interested in exploring kind of that whole area of like what people expect from an artist from a psychological point of view. Like I find that really interesting and it can happen so easily and then you create something that's maybe by accident or it's so outside of what you intended to do because people just kind of get run away with like their idea of what it is. And that is kind of art, really. Like, you know, you paint something or you make something and you put it out there and then it's kind of everyone else puts what they think onto it or onto you for creating it and then it gets out there in the world. So yeah, I find that interesting and I definitely relate to that for sure. It's hard. Yeah. So you're 25 and I feel like you are very plugged into social media and you market yourself and your art really, really well. It's very like natural, but it's also on trend in that it's things that are going to, you know, do well online. Like I feel like you have your finger on the pulse when it comes to things like Instagram and all of that. And I think that's definitely something people kind of need to do if they do want to turn it into a full-time thing or they want to grow like a presence. And there's a lot of resistance from that sometimes from artists, like, you know, being irritated with social media. So I thought, which I definitely feel, but I'd love to hear more about how you go about marketing your ceramics and then how much of a part of your business that is and how it maybe, you know, how you come up with the ideas or approach it and just feel about that whole kind of side of things.
Yeah, I think like, to be honest, so many artists, and like I can say this as someone that has like been through it as well, are just lazy. Like people don't want to put in the work to actually like put themselves out there. And like people think I'll just make one video and then like that's it, I'm done. And it's like you need to post online every single day if you want to see like change, or at least like, you know, 3 to 5 times a week. And I think a lot of people hear that and they're like, that's too much work. I don't have time. And like I understand that because I also don't have time to do it. But I think like the kind of harsh reality of it is just like if you want to grow online, you have to post online.
Wow. Oh my God, really?
Like people genuinely, I get so many DMs of people being like, what's your secret? Like, how did you grow? And I'm like, it's all here. Like everything is like laid out. You can watch all of it. Like the videos just gradually get better. I think the more you do it, the better you get at doing it. But I guess for me, I didn't come from a marketing background. I have like very limited knowledge of videography or photography, like at all. I basically just started learning on the fly. I was just watching reels of other people doing similar things to me, and I would just try and analyze it and be like, oh, this video is really engaging. Like, I'm really interested. Why am I interested? And then be like, oh, it's because in the first 3 seconds, like they said this particular thing and that like really got me. Like, I want to watch this video. Or they showed something from a really good angle. Or I just started like analyzing everything I was watching that was going viral. And I was like, how do I replicate this essentially? I literally have a folder on Instagram of content ideas. And I just save every video that I like into that folder. And then I will kind of like pick and choose elements that I think are performing really well and then sort of like try and apply that to my content. So kind of like, I guess, market research. But I think also just the longer I've done it, I've sort of started developing my own style that I'm like, oh, I made this video just like on a whim because I had an idea and then that video did really well. And so I think you kind of like the more you do it, the better you get at it. But also I think another thing that has like resonated a lot is like I'm just a very honest person, which I think surprises a lot of people. And I think showing up online and being honest and like being vulnerable about what's actually going on, people really resonate and connect with that. And they want to like engage with you because they're like, oh, you're a real person. You're not just pretending like everything is amazing, or you're just like some out of touch influencer that's, you know, living on a different planet. So I think people really connect with that as well. And I think showing up and being like vulnerable and authentic, like not pretending too much at least.
Totally. Yeah. I can see that in your content. I can see the balance of the strategicness and doing something that you know is or you're confident is going to do well. And that's obviously going to help your business. And I think that's where a lot of people struggle. And I agree with what you said about there being an element of laziness there or just resistance. And it's like, well, kind of how much do you want it? You know, like that's part of the game that you have to play. And that's a part of, you know, before social media, there were other things you had to do that maybe you didn't want to do to get noticed or succeed. But I can see the balance of, being strategic and going with concepts that do have have viral potential, but then also showing up as yourself and sharing the struggles, like when you got paint all over your jeans that time. It was like, you know, like that's something really shitty to happen to you and that could totally derail your day and you could be in a heap, not record it, not share it, you know, get in a hole, like stop posting online. Like, you know what I mean? Like that could lead to so many other outcomes. And then you turned it into content that was like funny, relatable, and like very humanizing. And it's not necessarily like strictly to do with like your ceramics and the ceramics you've made, but it's adjacent to it and it gets people interested in you as a person. And I think all of that stuff, it's like the holistic picture of everything that's going on, not just what you're creating, which I actually really enjoy because it's a bit more diverse. If you were just posting like the mugs you've made, it's like, that's very one-dimensional. Like you're more than just your ceramics. So, I think like that's good for people to hear. And I really appreciate your honesty with what you've said. You are very honest. And it is kind of surprising because, you know, you're very cute and, you know, like, so it's good to hear the real talk behind all of that. Next up, I want to talk about Cloudy Club. So that's your snail mail club that you've started. It's really, really awesome. And I think that there's so many things that we could talk about there in terms of like from a business point of view, why you started it. But if you could give a little run through of what Cloudy Club is and then maybe like why you started it.
Yeah. So basically I've called it like a snail mail club because a couple of other people are doing similar things. Essentially, it's a subscription where every month you get sent a physical letter, a postcard that's like an A6 little print of my art. And then like the back is like a little postcard so you could send it if you want to someone. And a little vinyl sticker, and then also journal prompts and a little monthly like playlist, like a QR code to scan. And then you can listen to my playlist that I've curated for the month. I started it because I saw a few other people doing similar things online and had kind of many years ago tried to start like a similar thing, but I just had no audience at the time. So I think like 3 people signed up and I was like, this is so much work for 3 people. So I kind of like shut it down very quickly. I got inspired to like do the letter concept because I have a pen pal in Scotland and we have been writing back and forth to each other for pretty much I think the whole year. And I really, really like sitting down to like write the letters to her. And every time I get one of her letters, like genuinely, like it makes my whole day. And I feel like I always end up getting them on just like when I've had a really bad day, I'll like open up my letterbox and there'll be a letter from her. And I just think it sort of made me like discover how exciting it is to actually get physical letters in the post, because it's just such a novelty to us because we didn't grow up sending letters to anyone. And it's sort of like, I don't know, when you buy something online and then it shows up and you're like, oh my God, my whole day is made. I love getting packages. So I sort of wanted to, I think, like use that concept to create something that I could give back to people, but that's also then creating like a passive income stream where I can like scale it, because my ceramics are not very scalable. I can only really output like a certain amount and I'm kind of already at that limit. So I think this was sort of an idea of like, it was culminating a lot of things that I was interested in, that I wanted to like test out and see if people would be interested. But also, I guess like the benefit of having recurring income that's passive, that is scalable, was like a big, I think, idea that I thought if I can make this work, like that would be excellent.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off you when you're making everything to order and it's just you're not outsourcing that to anyone. Like that's a lot of work. And like you say, there's a ceiling to that. And that's again where a lot of artists could run into trouble and possibly fail or get stuck in that slump like what we were talking about before. And then again, you've been so like resourceful and like imaginative and been like, okay, like what else can I do to solve this problem really? And I think like, yeah, it's clear that you're a problem solver for sure. So, but Cloudy Club is really cute. And I think right now, because we're so online, people are really looking for like those more analog ways to like share your art and connect with each other, looking for that, you know, humanness, like you were saying in the content, but then also in the ways that we interact with art. So I think you've really hit on something there. Can you talk a little bit about when you first launched it and how it went, and then also how you went about marketing Cloudy Club and like letting the world know that it was there?
Yeah. So when I first launched it, I think I got maybe 50 or 60 people signed up. No, it wasn't even 50, because I think I ordered 50 postcards the first month and I didn't even get through all of them. And I basically just like started posting about it. I sent out an email newsletter being like, hi everyone, I've started this new thing. And then I just put it on my story, and then I made a little reel like putting together one of the letters so that people could kind of see what it was about. I'm honestly so grateful that anyone signed up, because I think like initially it was, you know, a mock-up I'd done on Procreate on my iPad, and it wasn't anything, like they were signing up with the hope that it was going to be good essentially, but I hadn't even fully worked out like what it was going to physically look like. But once I had like sort of worked it out and I had the printed letters and like everything all set up, I just started making content really, talking about it. But none of the content like did very well in the beginning. So the first month, I don't think I had 50 people signed up, but I was like, I think maybe I got 30, and my goal was like 10 that month. I was like, if I get 10 people, like that would just be amazing. And I got 30 and I was like, oh my God, like so exciting, so exciting. And then by the second month, I think I had like more than 100.
Wow.
So in terms of the marketing, I basically just kind of did what I was doing with the ceramics, where it was just sort of like, I'm telling a story about it. I'm not trying to be like, buy this, because I think people want to connect with the story and what it's about, and not just like a hard sell. Like they don't want to feel like an ad. So I think I just started talking about, I love sending letters. Like I want to write really sweet, vulnerable letters to you guys. Like if you are interested, like this is what's going to be in it. I just sort of showed them the process of putting the letters together, which I think like looked very sweet. So I think people were kind of, drawn to that.
Definitely. Yeah. It's very cute. And I think it's really great as well how you've said that people needed to see it.
Yeah.
Like see the process of you doing it and making it, because we love to see that online. And then sharing the why behind you doing it as well, rather than just like join my thing or buy my art, like those kind of like harsh messages like don't really work and resonate with people. So yeah, it's awesome. And have you just continued to build on that strategy to grow Cloudy Club even more?
Yeah, essentially. I was filming the reels in my house. The lighting like isn't amazing in my apartment, but I have like a lot of really nice furniture. So I was like, oh, I think it would look better if I filmed it at home. And then I filmed one like on my desk here where it's like a bit brighter. And that reel got like 500,000 views or something. And then I had from like that one video, like I think almost more than 100 people sign up basically in like 2 weeks. It was just kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
And I was like, oh, okay, I just need to maybe like replicate that setting. So I did that again last month, and then that video is done really well again. So I think sort of trialing lots of different things and then working out what's working. Like that video doesn't even have any, I think it just says like POV, you join my snail mail club, and it's just me packing the letters.
Yeah,
which
very simple.
When I made it, when I like made the initial video that did really well, I was like, this video is like so half-assed. No one's gonna watch it. Like, I genuinely went into it. I was like, I'd spent no time on it. I think I was really sick that day. It was like rushed. I edited it in like 20 minutes. I just like cut the clips together, and I was like, oh, whatever. I'll just like chuck it up, and then just put some text on it because it looked so bad. And then that video ended up going like viral.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, if that's worked, I'm going to like replicate that concept. So that's kind of been my approach, was just sort of like test lots of things, see what's working. And then I think the other thing is just like consistency. So I'll like mention Cloudy Club like every couple days or, you know, at least a couple times a week so that people know that this exists, like sign up, this is what's coming this month. I'll do like an unboxing of all the things that are going to be in the letter this month so you can like see what it looks like. And
it's definitely something that you're having to like consistently talk about and mention, and kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning, where people post one video or, you know, they'll say like, oh, I tried to, you know, do X thing and it didn't work, but you have to kind of keep showing up or like keep reiterating and learning and doing it again. Just like you kind of do with anything, the same way you probably did with ceramics. Like the first time you made ceramics, I'm sure it wasn't what it looks like now.
Totally.
So it's just, you have to learn to love the process of even social media, you know, and just embrace that. And it's like a challenge and another thing for you to like overcome and kind of, just like get your head around. But it's amazing that you've been able to build that. Do you have any bigger plans for Cloudy Club? Like if it grows to a certain amount of like numbers, or is there anything else that you'd like to do in that kind of space that's more physical? No pressure.
I'm not totally certain yet. No, that's okay. I think if it grows to like 1,000 people, then I would probably need to get someone to help me pack the letters because it's taking ages.
You'll be like a post office.
Genuinely, like I think I spent more than 2 days packing last month, and that was like 250 people maybe. And this month it's like 350, and I'm like, it's gonna take me like another whole day to get the extra 100 packed.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I think I need to get someone to help me pack. But otherwise, I'm not totally sure. I do like the idea of like some kind of other similar subscription. I think I would like to, it's made me like really fall in love with writing again. And I've really used to love writing. I think I got like a lot of imposter syndrome around that. But I think sending out letters and like hearing people connecting with what I'm saying has definitely made me kind of want to explore that more. I think I'm just like so time poor, like I'm sure like you, but I would really like to, I think maybe start a Substack.
I love that. I love Substack. I was hoping you were going to say that.
So I think like that's something I want to do, like I think further down the track, and like write more.
Yeah.
I don't know about like changing. I do really like the way that it is right now. But I think, it would probably naturally like evolve and change a little bit just to kind of keep things fresh.
I would love to know like any piece of advice. You've given lots of great advice already, but any piece of advice to an artist who is, you know, listening right now and has either started or wants to get started doing something in the same kind of vein as you or dreams of it, because I'm sure you did before and had to sort of, like learn and overcome that. So any advice that you could give people listening or watching?
Oh my goodness, I feel like I have so much. I think the biggest thing that changed everything for me was just sort of consistency and like having the discipline to show up regularly for yourself. I think if you can't do that, then I don't know, you can't expect other people to, if that makes sense. Like you kind of have to fake it till you make it a little bit. And I know like the social media can feel really unnatural in the beginning and it can feel really awkward and like cringe, but I think like you just have to kind of push past that barrier and just like keep going. And it's constant like resilience of, oh, that didn't work, let me change it and try again, and let me like tweak that concept, and then until you get it right. And then when you get it right, just like replicating that, shove it down people's throats a little bit in the beginning, and then eventually it like starts paying off for itself, I think, and you start seeing reward for like, I guess, less output. But in the beginning, I think it's really just consistency, showing up and making art every day, showing up and posting about making the art every day. And If you're not doing it full time, I think like working out a schedule that like makes sense for you, that allows you to keep up momentum and keep up like a consistency. So even if it's like maybe on the weekend you make 2 videos and then throughout the week you post those videos, but every week at least you've got, you know, a bit to post, and it's just keeping things going.
Yeah, absolutely. It's super unsexy advice, but like consistency and keep doing the thing. Like it's not what people want to hear, because people want this like secret hack or this thing that's going to change everything. And I get a lot of messages like you about people saying, you know, how did you grow your YouTube channel? Or and I feel like people kind of gloss over maybe all the
like 800 posts.
And all the years of like doing something, which I do that with people too. Like I'll say like, oh, look at this person, they're doing so well. And then you just don't really pay attention to like what's gone into it beforehand, and you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. And it really is that. Like I would give the same advice, and like it's something I talk about in my course as well. Like consistency is so important. So like scheduling is important, and like keeping on top of your general life is important, so you can show up creatively and, you know, reach that goal. It's the whole picture of everything that you need to keep in check. Oh, so fun. Well, can you tell everybody who is listening or watching where they can find you, like where you are, and if they want to check out your ceramics or if they want to join Cloudy Club, all of those things, let us know where we can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at AlessiaEArt, all one word, or my website is just alessiae.com. You can sign up to Cloudy Club there, and I think that's kind of everything. My handle's the same on everything, but if you search for Alessia, it's not that common of a name. So
true. Yes, can find you. Yeah. And do you have your ceramic drops? Do you always have ceramics available, or does it come in drops?
Tends to be kind of more drops. Sometimes there'll be like lingering stock, but I tend to do like 1 drop a month is the goal. It's been a little bit all over the place this year, but yeah, generally it's 1 a month. I actually have 1 today.
Amazing. All right. Well, we'll link all that below and pop it up on screen so everybody can check it out. And thank you so much for chatting with me, Alessia. It's been awesome.
No worries. Thanks for having me.